Hello and welcome back to Crystal Wellness Studio. This week is October 26th and we are going to start with our Snowflake Obsidian Repair Barrel. Now we have a batch of Snowflake Obsidian that we stopped and put on hold at the 500 grit level because we had so much Snowflake Obsidian left that needed to catch up to it. So this has been in 60-90 for a week, and we're gonna see what kind of shape this is. Now this is stuff that had been set aside and weeded out through all the other batches of Snowflake Obsidian. So it's been through rough several times, and a couple of these pieces have actually been through medium and had to go back. So let's see what we've got here. Let's not pour out all the water. Let's see, that's just stone or ceramic media. Okay, we lost our focus. There it is. Now, let's see what we've got here. This is feeling perfect, but we're going to want to dry it off to make sure that we're not missing anything. Isn't this pretty? Now, I don't want you to get the idea that 1 week in rough, or in 1 week in 60-90 coarse grit is going to get this result. This has been several weeks, in different stages. So this is, again, our repair barrel. Things that we had set aside because they had little dings or whatnot. This is absolutely perfect and it's ready to move forward. So let's put that over there so we don't get it mixed up. Okay. Well, I think that repair barrel did what we wanted. Because there was just little tiny dings, little tiny scratches, little tiny things we wanted to pull out because we want these to be close to perfect. I want these to be close to perfect. Some people are very happy with the natural stone, and that's fine. But I'm trying to learn tumbling and trying to teach tumbling. So we're going to try and get these as perfect as possible so people understand what they're getting into. We got a lot to get through this week. We've got like 16 different kinds of stones. Wow. I think this repair barrel did its job. Oh, see, there's just a little bit. Can you see that? No. I'm going to set that aside and we're going to see how many pieces still are in that shape. Because I don't think medium is going to fix that. Might. Isn't that pretty? Look at how that just made like a line. I don't know why we're losing focus today. That's bloody perfect. Now when I rinsed the barrel, there was no chips. So we don't have any breakage, which is a good thing. They're still a little wet from the wash. Alright, so these that are moving forward are going to have to go through a wash cycle because we want to remove any residual slurry, the 60-90 grit. I mean, these may look clean, it may feel smooth, but when we run a wash water, you'll be surprised how dark it is. And it cleans the barrel, it cleans the stones, it cleans the ceramic media. Oh, that's still got... So that crack didn't get fixed. Not crack, but... See that damage. I don't want to move forward because that's just going to catch grit and it's going to be a problem. So I'm going to set this aside for a future. See, there's some right here too. This stone's going to get set aside for when I run Snowflake Obsidian again, because it's been fun to run. It's been really nice. Most of these are, I think there's only 2 that I pulled out. I mean, these are kind of tiny, you know, comparatively speaking. And that's because so much mass is lost when it's in the 60-90 grit. Because that's where all the shaping happens, all the smoothing. Oh. See, there's a problem there. This one's amazing. Now this is completely dry. Look at how cool it looks. Now let's put some water on it. And just look how it pops. And this is what it's going to look like when it's all polished. It's going to have this nice glassy high polish. It's going to be gorgeous. See, you can still see there's a little slurry on here. Little fine grains of grit. And that's what the wash cycle is going to fix. This has got some pink in it. That needs to be... Oh wow, this is awesome. Alright, this has a lot of issues. See that fracture line? And then there's that. Poor little thing got beat up. So we have 4 pieces that we're holding back for future 60-90. Now this was the one that was a maybe. And since we're holding things back, we're just going to put it with it. If it was all by itself, I may have just put it forward and see what medium did. Ceramic media looks fine. So we're going to put that ceramic media back in the barrel because it's going to get the wash cycle as well. Okay, for those of you that have not watched all the videos before, this is what we do for a wash cycle. So you put the ceramic media back in, you put the ceramic in, and then we're going to get some Draft baby detergent, laundry detergent. I'm not promoting this brand, you know, I'm not getting a kickback, nothing like that. It's just on the advice of other people that tumble. They've said that this is a good chemical-free laundry detergent to use, you know, for, you know, Draft. To use for the, I don't know what I'm saying, the wash cycle. So we're going to put, I'm actually going to put 2 tablespoons in here, which is probably too much for the size of this barrel. But we want it to get clean. And now we're going to just add a little bit of water. Oh, the focus is really off on this camera. Sorry about that. So now we're going to pour some water in here and we're going to put it on the tumbler for a couple of hours. And then we're going to drain it, rinse it, and then do a second wash cycle because the first one's going to be all dark and muddy. And yeah. So that's what's happening with this barrel. And then once it's washed and the wash water comes out fairly clean, then we'll go ahead, give it another really good rinse, and we will put it in medium grit of 120, 220 for a few days. I'm going to say probably a week. Really, it doesn't even need it. But I feel weird about moving forward to 500. So I kind of want to give it maybe just 3 days in medium. And then we'll check it. And if it looks really super good, which I'm 99% sure it will, then we can move it to the 500, again with another wash cycle in between. And then it'll catch up to everything that we had prior. And then we can combine these two batches and have a full batch of Snowflake Obsidian again. And it'll be ready to move in to the 1000 pre-polished, super fine aluminum oxide grit. Yeah, so that's what's happened with Snowflake Obsidian. All right, we'll be back in a minute with our next barrel. All right, we are back with our 6-pound barrel that was combined of 4 different things. We have Yellow Jaspers over here. We have the Serape Jasper here. We have the Zebra Jasper there. And we've got the Botswana Agate. So, and then of course a pile of ceramic media. All of this fit in the 6-pound barrel. That's pretty awesome. So as you know from previous videos, we didn't have this much left over. So what I had done is I had gone through our split batches, and I pulled out all of the Yellow Jasper that had been held back because it was either a problem child or it needed another round of course, or there was something wrong with it. Some of them were even brand new rough. And the Serape Jasper, I pulled the last couple of stones we had, in our, when we started the Serape Jasper, there was too much to fit in the barrel. So we had a couple of rocks left behind. And so I put those stones in this time because we had room in the barrel and we needed different sizes of stone. So we added a couple of pieces this time. Then, as far as our agate goes, it's just been running forever. I think that this Botswana agate's been running since August 8th. And, yeah, that's just is what it is. We'll talk about that in a minute. The Zebra Jasper, I did pull out a few more pieces. And, yeah, so we're going to kind of see what's going on with all of these. Now, I was at the store, and I had purchased let's focus this camera. I had purchased this beautiful red jasper, and it had marks on it, like these right here. And I thought, you know what, if I throw it back in the tumble, back in the rough, maybe it will shape it a little bit more and get rid of these marks. And it did smooth them down because they were quite large. I'm going to do this in another round of course to see if I can get more of this off. But even though it was perfectly polished, and it was a stone that I had bought all ready to go, I didn't like these. And most people would have left it. But most people don't tumble rocks. So I threw it in because the Jaspers are all the same size. Now the polish is completely gone. So that's a bit of a bummer. But, obviously going back into 6090 coarse grit is going to remove the polish. And that's okay because it's going to go all the way through all the stages of grit. And it'll end up polished. But we want to get rid of these. So I'm going to put this back in the barrel. And, yeah. Let's see if we can see what it looked like when it was wet. really pretty. Just a great big chunk of red. A little slight pattern in here. Very, very slight. Some striations here that was just beautiful. See, there's a scratch in here too. So yeah, this little baby's going back in. So these are things that you can do when you're rock tumbling. Is you can combine barrels to fill, as long as it's all the same MOHS hardness, and these are all like a MOHS 6.5, 7. So as long as they're all in the same MOHS hardness, you can put them in the same barrel. And since all these are Jaspers, why not? The only thing that's not a Jasper, of course, is the Botswana Agate. So let's take a look at the Serape Jasper that has been running since August 8th. It's now October 26th, so you can do the math. This was a new piece we put in. No, it isn't. This was not the new piece, but it does have all this work that needs to be smoothed out. You see that? So, yeah, maybe this was a new piece. It's fairly large. This was a new piece. It's going to be really interesting when it's done. All the differences in this. Needs a lot more smoothing, obviously. This has been in there forever. As you can see, you know, a lot of the smoothing has already been done, but there's still some problem areas. Still problem areas. This was a new piece, and you can see how much, you know, only 1 week has happened versus months, and, you know, they all still need work. I don't think I'll ever do Serape Jasper again. I mean, it's really beautiful, but the time constraint is amazingly long. I mean, it's almost like you want to take a tile saw and smooth it out before it goes in. As you can see. This was another new piece. This is after 1 week. It needs more. And that's fine. I've reconciled myself to, you know, this Jasper barrel is going to just run forever. I have a lot of Jaspers. I can just keep adding to it. So, 1 red Jasper and a ton of Serape. So now, let's move on to our Yellow Jasper. Let's move the camera here. And as you can see, we've got some chips already. And this is a Quartz that came out of one of these, probably in here. See these little empty little spots here? It was filled with Quartz, and the Quartz came out. So we're setting these aside. Obviously, this was a problem child, and we put it in here to see if we could get, you know, since we're running it, we need a different size rock to help fill the barrel, and we put it in here to see if it would help. It needs a whole lot of work. Here's a larger new piece that we put in. Again, little holes from where host rock or Quartz was. This is going to be a nightmare. This is never, ever, ever going to come out well. I could crack this stone, and we'll be better off. There's really, I don't know. It's almost like there's no point for tumbling, because you're never going to get that smooth unless you cut the stone in half. And then you can save most of it. So I have a rock garden outside that I put stones that are just never going to tumble properly, that are just going to be these problems. I call them my problem children, and they're going to go outside. But I don't want to waste this entire piece of yellow jasper when I can save at least half of it. So we're going to crack this one and see what happens. Let's set that aside. Holy moly. There's another ugly problem. I mean, it's really kind of cool, but not for tumbling. That will just catch grit and slurry and just never... It'll just ruin everything else in the batch. So again, I think this is another one we can save by cracking. You know, this one that we put back in the barrel, we're going to crack it too. Worst thing that happens is it goes outside to the beautiful rock garden. Best thing that happens, it goes back in the tumbler. This one I think will be alright. You know, this is not going to catch anything, but it's going to create an interesting shape that I'm hoping will grind out. Yeah, these were problem children. I don't want them to ruin everything else that's in the barrel. So these are just going to go to the rock garden. I threw them back in because I needed filler, and I wanted to see what would happen. Well, what's happening is it's not really getting any better. This has got a really super rough texture. It may never grind down. This was a new piece of yellow jasper that we added, and it's shaping beautifully. A couple of weeks, this is going to be great. Now some of these we had pulled because it needed a little bit more, like right here. It's getting really close to being ready for medium. Aw. Well, darn. This is beautiful. This is such a cool side. It's really interesting. Side is really cool. And then you've got that big divot, which you're going to lose an awful lot of rock to get that to clean up. That hole right there is going to be the whole issue for this piece not going forward ever. So let's rock garden it while it's still really pretty. I think this we'll just keep using as filler. When I say filler, I'm talking about, you know, so we have different size rocks in the barrel so that the grit can adhere to it and kind of move around with it, and it gets into the smaller spots, so it helps out. That's never going to be anything. This needs work. It's getting close. A lot of yellow in here this week. Wow, this is going to be so cool. This has a little bit more work to do. It's going to be so cool. Really cool. Let's see. That's just always going to be a grit catcher. So if I cut that end off the stone, we could save the rest of it. Hate doing that. Alright, let's see if any of this yellow is ready to move forward to medium, and it does not look like it. Oh, that's never going to happen. Never going to happen. See, some of these, I mean, look at the texture. It's never going to get smooth. So, I mean, you can, it would be foolish to continue to tumble a piece like this because it's just going to catch grit and it's going to ruin future batches. And when I talk about future batches, I mean like when it goes to medium grit, fine grit, whatever. Save yourself the heartache by trying to save just one stone and take it out and do something else with it. There's plenty of other things to do with these rocks, these crystals and gems and whatnot, whatever name you want to give it. There's plenty of other things to do with it. You don't have to always have it polished. So set it aside for something else. Like a rock garden outside, for instance. Wow, that's a cool shape. You can see some quartz on there. Wow, this one is so close to being ready to go to medium. It's got a couple little things on here. Sometimes if you let it run too long, it grinds down to the next layer, and the next layer might have a little piece of quartz or another type of stone in there that comes out and creates a problem where there wasn't a problem before. That is a really neat fracture line. You cannot feel it. But watch it go all the way around. But again, it's like if I roll my fingernail over it, you're not feeling it. It's not catching. So it could just be a striation, but it looks like a fracture line. That is so cool. Don't know what's going to happen with this. By the time you grind it down, there will be nothing left. So you could take a flat lap or take a tile saw and just remove this bottom layer. Or you just put it in a rock garden and say, isn't that a beautiful piece? This is a piece of zebra jasper. Okay, back to the yellow. I like how it's got some red in it. Yeah, these little problem babies are as tumbled as they're going to get. They're going to go into the garden. Or I might put them, I might bury them with some plants and let the crystal energy work on the plants. You know, either put them on the top of the soil or next to the plant or in the soil, depending on which stones they are, what properties they give off. So, you know, indoor garden, outdoor garden. They deserve to be seen. They're beautiful. Even if they are flawed. This is a really cool shape. I'm afraid this quartz is going to come out. This is really super duper cool. Hope it doesn't come out. Okay, so these are just going to be garden. Indoor, outdoor, doesn't matter. I'm just not going back in the tumbler. Now, this is not going back in the tumbler because it's just all those little lines are grooves that you're just never going to get down into. Oof. Call that a chip. Oh wow, that is so close to smooth. That's an optical illusion. It looks like a hole, but it's not. This one, if it wasn't for this, would be ready to go on. See, I don't know. Give it one more week and we might pull it for the garden. These are just really cute little pebble ones. I'm just going to put them in the garden. They are actually okay. Alright, so we have garden rock. We have decisions to be made on these four. On whether we're going to garden rock them or slice them open to try and save them. You know what? I'm going to garden rock them. And then these are going to go in the Yellow Jasper chip bag for our future projects that we're doing with chips. And we're going to move on to our Zebra Jasper. Okay, we'll be right back in just a moment. Okay, our Yellow Jasper chips. Put these in. So if you're ever wondering, like, what happens with all these things, I'm going to pull my camera back. I have a box of chips for future projects. And we have them all individually labeled for what they are. And we just set it aside, and eventually we'll work with it when we get enough. Okay. Now, Botswana. Let's move these over. Again, sorry about the camera. It is directly in my way. This beautiful piece, this was from the host rock, and it has been smoothing away and smoothing away and smoothing away. And look at what it's been revealing. Just this beautiful agate banding. It's just stunning. Lovely peach color. Dark spots in there is grit. This grit I can't get out, so we're going to let it go another week, and then I think that's all we're going to do for it. And then if it's still there in another week, we're going to take the tile saw to it and smooth it, because I don't want to lose so much of this beauty. But it is being revealed more and more. Like, so if you look at this, you see there's a little bit of the host rock on top of it, and if that gets ground away, you're going to see more of the striation. See how it's starting to come out more? That's very interesting. Okay. This looks like it had some tree agate and that came out. That's a bummer. But this was all hidden under host rock, and now it's coming to the fore. So we'll put that back in. That's host rock, host rock. Wow, we've been watching this for a while. Look, it just uncovers. It's really beautiful. Botswana Agate has been running since August 8th. It's October 10th, 26th. So yeah, it's been in here a while. Takes a really long time. And it was super rough. It was not like the best quality when I got it. And when I say that, it means it had a lot of host rock. That looks like it might just split. Bet you I could just break that in half with a hammer. Oof, that's scary. There's the dark one. See, it's just starting to be revealed. Obviously has more work. A lot more work on this little beauty, which I think is really carnelian. Because I'm not seeing any of that agate striation. I think it's more carnelian. And sometimes, you know, when you buy these from wholesalers and whatever, if you don't source it personally, stuff gets mixed up in the barrels. You know, the big bins might pop over, so sometimes you might get a little surprise. Oh. Yikes. Oh, that's cool. But none of this is ready to move forward. It's getting darn close, but none of it's ready. This was just like a brown lump. And as the months have been going, this is a bruise. That'll come out. That's a bruise. But there's agate underneath there. There's that banding is under there. There's another piece of carnelian. Oh, that's coming out. Being revealed. Oh, this is not Botswana. This is another piece of Serape. Okay, now we move on to our Zebra Jasper. This is a very full barrel. This barrel could just be a video all on its own. So all this lovely Zebra Jasper. We had pulled a bunch of new pieces in. So there'll be some that's really close to medium and some that's going to be running for a couple more weeks. Like this was a new one. It's not really rounded yet. This one's getting closer. I like this one, it's sort of like a shoe. This has got some gold and some pink and some yellow. It's got a lot going on. Concerned about this little druzy mark there. This one kind of looks like a tooth. This is never gonna work. There's so much that needs to be fixed on this that we're gonna add it to our garden pile. Now this is Leopard Jasper, which was put, you know, mixed in with the Zebra Jasper. This is leopard skin. Finally figured out what it was. I've been saying for weeks that I was going to figure it out, and then I did figure it out and I never put it in the video. Ooh, cool shape. Oh, there's some pink on that. Let's make this one wet. Look at how cool that is. It's got some green, a little bit of pink. It's a really interesting piece of Zebra Jasper. This one is really vibrant. And I'm not thinking this is zebra jasper. I'm thinking this isn't something else that got popped in. You know, mixed in the barrel from the wholesaler. Wow. It's really cool. I can look at these all day. I mean, as it is, it's been almost an hour on just 2 barrels. Wow. I don't know if this is ever... Yeah, there's just too much. We're going to set it aside for a rock collection. For our garden collection. Not sure if that's ever going to work. This one's crazy cool. As you can see, that little sparkle, a little druzy. Isn't that awesome? Those are going to come out, and it's going to be empty like that. Because it's a different hardness. Wow. You know what? I want to call this ready for medium, but I'm not sure about those druzy holes, so we're going to set that aside, do some research. We might move that piece forward if the medium isn't going to damage it. Not that it's going to damage it, that continue to remove that. I mean, if it's just going to smooth the surface and not do any shaping, then we'll be alright. I think we're going to put this one in a chip barrel. It's so tiny. That needs work. Oh, it definitely needs work. So close. That is a different stone. So we've got a little bit of the zebra. A little bit. I'm going to call it quartz for lack of further knowledge. Oh, some of these are just going to be garden stones. It's another toothy looking one. This one's ready for medium. Cool. Alright, that's it for a rock. So we've got one ready for medium, and it's a zebra. One zebra chip. Garden stones. All that came out of this batch. And then this is going to be the research one. And that filled our barrel. So we're just slightly under 2/3 full. And by the time we put our ceramic media in here, it'll be 2/3. And we'll run this for another week in 60-90 grit. All right, we will be back with our next barrel in just a moment. The Labradorite has been running in 60-90 coarse grit since October 4th, and today's the 26th, so it's been 3 full weeks. And this is ready for medium. Look at the flash on that. We've been pulling some out. That was ready. Oh my goodness. These are just beautiful. Look at the flash. Not so much on that side. Right there. Okay. Just a tiny bit on this one. I could use another week. Isn't Labradorite beautiful? So much to look at. I think another week on this one will bring out more of the flash. Sometimes you just have to grind down a layer. Yeah, I need some more work. Fingernail sticks in there. Labradorite sure is pretty. Don't want to rush it. It's only been 3 weeks. Wow. It's really cool. Feels completely smooth. Except for that scratch right there. Kind of see it when it's dry here. Not seeing chips so far, so that's a good sign. Oh, wow. Whew. Pretty cool. Looks kind of gray and dull when it's dry, but wait till we get it polished. It'll get there. Yeah, it'll get there. Oh, that's a pretty big piece there. It needs to be worked on. Oh yeah, needs to be smoothed. That looks like a bruise, like it got nailed against something. We're going to have to cushion it a little bit better. That one's ready. It's funny how holding it different ways will reveal the flash or lack thereof. Very interesting. There's a whole lot on that one. Whew. Labradorite. Because of the Mystic Stone? Stone of Magicians? Oh. Can't feel it, but you can sure see it. We're pretty much about half and half on this batch. Half ready to move forward and half has to stay in course again. So we're going to keep it in course and hold the ones that are ready to move forward, and we'll hold them back. Split this batch. They're so close. Not seeing chips. So that's a very good sign. Wow, look at that. I mean, you see these that look like fractures. It's just the way the stone grew. You can't feel a thing. Let's say that's ready for medium. I bet if we let this go through one more round of coarse grit, it's going to take off just enough to show us more of this beautiful coloring. Luminescence. Labradorescence, excuse me. Labradorescence, because this is Labradorite. Okay, that was a rather quick barrel. We're at half and half, so half we're going to put aside, and half we're going to run one more week in course. 60-90 grit. Alright, we will be back with our Unakite in just a moment. Okay, we're back with our Unakite. And it is stunning. Look at the color on this. It's so vibrant. Wow. I think this is ready to move forward. There's a little bit of rough on here. I think it might be the grit. Unakite's been running in 60-90 for 3 weeks. And it's shaped really well. Don't like that scratch on here. That one's going to be held back. Held back. See how pretty this is? You can see a little quartz, the epidote, feldspar. It's just a really pretty stone. And of course, the more feldspar in it, the redder it looks. This started out as pretty small rough to begin with. Wow. It's looking pretty good. This one's more epidote. Oh, bummer. That's a big divot. I don't know what we're going to do with that. This is all epidote. There's another one that's all epidote. wouldn't be ready to move forward if it wasn't for that little tiny piece. Interesting how this is shaping. Oh, it's going to need another week. Not really sure. See, the Epidote and the Feldspar might be two different hardnesses. So one might be disappearing faster than the other, causing this a little bit of breakdown. Not really sure. That's really interesting. Look at how intricate that is. Well, I think this batch is about half and half. Half ready and half needs to be another week. I think we're going to need smaller barrels. This was in a 3-pound barrel, and I really think it's going to need to go in a 1.5 pound. That is completely dry. Look at how it pops when it gets wet. Isn't that stunning? Okay, so this is what we have that's can move forward to medium. And this is what we have that has to be held back and run for another week. We don't have enough of either to run a full barrel. So either we're going to find something we can combine it with that has the same MOHS hardness, or we're going to have to wait for a small barrel to open up. Huh. Alrighty. So we have this Unakite here, which is ready for medium that we've pulled out of a previous batch. So we'll just add these to that. And this is what we have available for medium. And we'll set this aside until the others catch up. And we did have one chip. Well, I don't think there's any more, but I'll take a quick look off camera to see if there's any more. And let's add this to our Unakite chips, which is going to be in here somewhere. Right here. I'll just add that in there. Okay, I will go through the ceramic media, and then this is going to go through another rough cycle. We're going to have to figure out what to do with that. Going to have to switch up some barrels. Okay, be right back with our tiger's eye.